The top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and United States Vice President Kamala Harris commit to stronger cooperation between the Philippines and the U.S. to achieve digital inclusion, a clean energy, and food security.
The Fiveman advisory group recommends to the National Police Commission to accept the courtesy resignation of 2 generals and 2 colonels of the Philippine National Police.
The Manila International Airport Authority meets with airport companies and airport operators across the country to prepare for the 6-hour airport shutdown on May 17.
And China's exit bans multiply as political control tightens under the Chinese Communist Party.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, May 3, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Hardy Delgado.
United States Vice President Kamala Harris met with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. at the #1 Observatory Circle in Washington, D.C. President Marcos Jr. lauds the U.S. Vice President for laying out the groundwork towards a revitalized and stronger partnership that led to his official visit to the U.S. Capitol. Nel Maribojoc reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and United States Vice President Kamala Harris have committed to foster stronger cooperation between the Philippines and the U.S. to achieve digital inclusion, a clean energy, and food security. They pledge to strengthen the partnership between Manila and Washington.
And on the issue of security, of course, the work that our countries are doing together as it relates to the South China Sea, as it relates to what we must do in terms of continuing to work together through our Coast Guards.
PBBM told Harris that his trip to the U.S. has allowed him to strengthen the ties between the two countries.
I think that that has given us the very attractive opportunity to continue to strengthen the relationship between the two countries in the context of all of the difficulties and complexities, the rising tensions in our region of the world.
The two leaders first met in November 2022 when the U.S. Vice President traveled to the Philippines. Nel Maribojoc, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Metro Manila Council, or MMC, will meet on Friday, May 5, after several days of implementation of the Single Ticketing System, or STS. Dante Amento tells us why.
Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA Chairman Romando Artes said the Metro Manila Council, or MMC, will discuss feedbacks or problems encountered in the pilot implementation of the Single Ticketing System, or STS, in some cities in the National Capital Region on Friday, May 5. The local government units, or LGUs, of Quezon City, Caloocan, Valenzuela, Parañaque, and San Juan joined the launching of the program yesterday.
Para makita natin kung ano yung mga adjustments na dapat gawin, kung may mga kailangan baguhin, para maging seamless yung implementation, yung full implementation doon sa iba pang mga syudad na natitira na hindi pa nakakapag-launch.
The Manila and Muntinlupa LGUs, on the other hand, deferred their participation. Chairman Artes explained the Land Transportation Office, or LTO, required an amendment to the City Ordinance of Manila, while Muntinlupa LGU asked for another week for information dissemination and training of their traffic law enforcers. Meanwhile, the MMDA will be distributing 30 units of handheld digital ticketing devices to all the local government units in NCR. This is part of the preparations for the full implementation of STS in the third quarter of this year.
Sa ngayon, San Juan pa lang ang merong digital ticketing device. Pero tayo ay magpo-provide sa mga 17 LGUs In fact, nandito na yung ating device. Kailangan lamang pong i-customize ito dahil alam naman natin na merong kanya-kanyang iba pang violations yung mga syudad. So, kailangan lang integrate dito sa ating sistema.
Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has suspended a senior lawyer for 2 years for sexual harassment against a junior associate at work. The court said the respondent was charged with committing sexually laced acts that include dirty jokes and inappropriate intimate questions about her romantic relationships, among others. Despite self-awareness, the respondent's inappropriate behavior allegedly persisted, leading to the emotional toll on the complainant, who had to seek psychotherapy treatment. In his message during the oath-taking of the new lawyers yesterday, May 2nd, Supreme Court Associate Justice Ramon Paul Hernando reminded lawyers to act professionally at all times.
No matter what you do, never tarnish the image and integrity of the legal profession in all your dealings and actuations, whether in a personal capacity or in the course of your duties.
The Fiveman advisory group recommends to the National Police Commission to accept the courtesy resignation of 2 generals and 2 colonels of the Philippine National Police. This is in relation to their investigation into the involvement of some Philippine National Police officers in the illegal drug trade. Leia Ilagan will tell us why.
Former Philippine National Police Chief, Police General Rodolfo Osorin Jr. confirmed that they recommended to the National Police Commission or NAPOLCOM to accept the courtesy resignation of 2 generals and 2 colonels of the PNP. In a message sent to UNTV, retired General Osorin said they are hoping that the new Chief PNP will continue the effort on the matter. The 4 officers are among the 36 recommended for thorough investigation by the NAPOLCOM for alleged involvement in illegal drugs. The Fiveman advisory group also recommended filing an administrative case against the 4 senior officials of the PNP. However, PNP Chief Police General Benjamin Acuarda Jr. refused to comment on the issue.
Gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, there will be a joint press conference with the NAPOLCOM and SRG, and I don't want to take the numbers there.
But he assured that the policemen involved in the confiscation of the 990 kilos of shabu will be charged.
I'm giving the assurance that all those personnel who are involved in this fiasco will be properly charged, appropriately charged, and administratively and criminally at that. Pipilitin natin na sila po ay matatanggap sa service.
NAPOLCOM Chairman and Interior and Local Government Secretary Benhar Abalos also refused to give the names of the 4 senior officers, but said they will announce the result of the NAPOLCOM investigation in the coming days.
Just give us about probably 2 days so that all legalities ma-cover namin dito. We just want that when we make a statement, talagang airtight ang lahat na ito.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
In other news, the supply of fish in the country may be affected if the measures to mitigate the impact of El Nino will not be implemented. The government lays plans in facing challenges amid the looming phenomenon. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
Aquaculture is one of the sectors that might be affected by the impact of El Nino in the country. According to the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources or BIFAR, incidents of fish kill may occur due to the scarcity of oxygen if water levels in fish ponds are low.
Ang sinasabi natin, maiiwasan natin ang losses kung gagawin natin yung mga measures na kailangan gawin para ma-address yung sitwasyon.
But on a positive note, the pelagic fish catch such as tuna and sardines may increase because it favors warm water, according to BIFAR. The agency will also set up more water sampling stations to monitor red tide occurrence that is expected to increase in various coastal areas in the country during El Nino. The Department of Agriculture already requested 18 million pesos for the cloud seeding operation.
Ibig sabihin, doon sa mga areas na talagang kukulan, doon tayo makikipag-coordinate ngayon, whether magka-cloud seeding tayo, whether yung water management through NIA and Irrigators Association, or doon tayo magbibigay ng tulong doon sa pumping irrigation.
DA is continuously preparing for the possible impact of El Nino in agriculture. In 2019 weak El Nino, the damage in agriculture, particularly in rice and corn, recorded at 10.7 billion pesos. Starting May 11, the National Water Resources Board will temporarily cut the allocation of water for irrigation from Angat Dam. Harvest season almost done, and the next planting season will start in June. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration or PAGASA has located a low-pressure area in the vicinity of Tanjay City, Negros Oriental. It is embedded along the Intertropical Convergence Zone affecting southern Luzon, Visayas and Mindanao. Mimaropa, Bicol Region, Mindanao and Visayas will experience cloudy skies with scattered rain showers, while Metro Manila and the rest of the country will experience isolated rain showers and thunderstorms. Meanwhile, PAGASA has recorded a heat index of 45 degrees Celsius in Apari, Cagayan and 44 degrees Celsius in Puerto Princesa City in Palawan, Sangli Point in Cavite, San Jose in Occidental Mindoro, Zamboanga City and Lawag City also recorded 43 degrees Celsius.
And for news abroad, the Biden administration is deploying 1,500 soldiers to the U.S.-Mexico border. Joselito Liquido explains why live. Yes, Joselito, go ahead, please.
Good evening, Mariel. The Biden administration has also approved the deployment of an additional 1,500 soldiers to the U.S.-Mexico border to support the Department of Security as it prepares for the end of the Title 42 border restriction. Expected to arrive by Wednesday, May 10, and will perform administrative tasks such as data entry and warehouse support. White House Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre also confirmed that the additional Department of Defense personnel would not be performing law enforcement functions or interact with the migrants. Title 42 is a public health order issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention or CDC in March 2020 to restrict the entry of non-US citizens into the country during the COVID-19 pandemic. Under this policy, non-US citizens who attempt to enter the US without proper documentation can be quickly expelled without a hearing or the opportunity to make an asylum claim. The administration also stated that it will accelerate the deportation of people asylum, including families who attempt to enter the country. Under the new measures, those caught crossing the border irregularly will also be banned from re-entering the country for at least 5 years.
Beginning on May 12, we will place eligible individuals who arrive at our southern border in expedited removal proceedings. Unlike the Title 42 Public Health Authority, the penalty for being removed from the United States under Title 8 through expedited removal and other immigration laws we will be enforcing is not just removal. An individual who is removed is subject to at least a 5-year ban on admission to the United States and can face criminal prosecution for any subsequent attempt to cross the border illegally.
While President Biden has been critical of the Trump administration's anti-immigrant policy, he has been criticized by immigrant rights groups for maintaining many of those policies, further limiting asylum during his presidency. In response, Jean-Pierre also emphasized that the president is working to create a more humane and modernized immigration system compared to the last administration. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Joselito Liquido, for that live report. The executive of the European Union, or EU, wants to reserve more than 500 million euros to boost ammunition and missile production for their aid to Ukraine, as well as replenish the stocks of EU member nations. Additionally, the EU has already agreed to set aside 1 billion euros for ammunition and missiles as part of its effort to supply 1 million shells to Ukraine within a year. The plan is the third element of a larger EU effort to arm Ukraine with more ammunition and weapons, including 155mm artillery shells, as Ukraine's fight against Russia has evolved into an attrition-based conflict. However, in order for the plan to be implemented, EU governments and the European Parliament must approve it first. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, Marielle. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Over 40 Filipino students from Sudan have arrived in the country since the government started the repatriation of overseas Filipinos in Sudan. Meanwhile, the government is now looking for possible educational assistance for displaced students who were repatriated from Sudan. Janice and Henta will tell us why.
The Philippine government has repatriated more than 80 Filipinos out of over 500 Filipino evacuees from war-torn Sudan this week. Among them are 49 Filipino students who were studying at a university in Sudan that was also affected by the ongoing clashes. One of the displaced Filipino students stated that they have no idea how to continue their studies in the country now that they are in the Philippines. They are hoping that the government can provide them with educational assistance to help them pursue their studies.
Yung plano ng mga kasamahan ko, stay Philippine muna. Napasok sana ako ng masteral, hindi ko natapos dahil after Ramadan sana, ang promise sa amin ng university is mag-exam kami, final exam ng second semester. Pero yun, hindi pa umabot ng natapos yung Ramadan, is nagkaputo ka na.
According to the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, they are now looking into possible educational assistance that could provide support to the displaced students from Sudan. But for now, student evacuees can still avail the 10,000 pesos cash aid under the Assistance to Individual in Crisis Situation, or AIX, program of the DSWD.
Pag-aaralan po natin kung yung ating pong educational assistance ay maaari din po nating ibigay sa kanila. But then ito nga pong educational assistance natin, it's not like a scholarship program. Ito po ay one-time na assistance po na binibigay natin on a certain school year. May mga bracket po ito hanggang maximum na 10,000 po para po dun sa ating mga college student na, and I believe sila po ay nasa tertiary education po dun.
Meanwhile, according to the Department of Migrant Workers, aside from DSWD, they are also coordinating with the National Commission on Muslim Filipinos to facilitate reintegration programs for displaced students from Sudan.
We are working closely with the National Commission on Muslim Filipinos and the Department of Social Welfare and Development as part of the Salubong and Reintegration Program.
Janice and Hente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Several lawmakers support to increase the minimum wage in the country. According to Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, more Filipino workers would opt to go abroad if wages are still not increased. Aileen Cerudo will tell us why.
Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri said Filipino skilled workers would need to find better opportunities abroad in order to survive the rising prices of commodities and services. The lawmaker raises concerns that this might cause a shortage of skilled workers in the country.
Mawawala na yung mga call center agents, mawawala na yung mga nurses, mawawala na yung mga doktor. Kanina binanggit nyo about nurses. Marami sila uma-abroad na. We cannot compete, unfortunately.
Several bills have already been filed in Congress seeking a minimum wage increase. This includes Senate Bill number 2002, which aims to increase the minimum wage by 150 pesos across the board. The Department of Labor and Employment said the proposed increase should be balanced to prevent micro, small, and medium enterprises from shutting down. According to Senator Zubiri, he is open to amending the proposed 150 peso minimum wage hike all across the board for MSMEs. Lower rates for the wage hike will be given for micro, small, and medium enterprises. For larger companies, Senator Zubiri said they can afford a wage increase.
A company earns, guys, billions a year. Can they not afford to make that little drop in the bucket sacrifice for their workers? Diba? First of all, if you have 1,000 employees, I don't think you're making only 10 million a year. They can afford. Ang pag-iusap naman namin po sa kanila, share naman po natin ito sa ating mga manggagawa.
Meanwhile, the senator is also looking into increasing the wages of middle-income workers to encourage them to stay in the country. The Senate is set to discuss the proposed wage hike on May 10. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Sugar Regulatory Administration, or SRA, believes that the arrival of imported sugar in the country is already having an impact on reducing prices in the market. Administrator Pablo Azgona said that the SRA has already allowed the selling of 116,000 metric tons of imported sugar to consumers.
Pag kinausap mo kasi yung retailer, ang dami naman nilang rason na mataas daw yung iba because of their puhunan, quality, kung ano-ano yan. But at least sa ngayon po, makikita na natin yung 85.
The sugar supply in the country has increased by 132% compared to last year. Local production and raw sugar have also increased by 37% and 19% respectively.
Vendors affected by the fire incident in Pitril Market will be temporarily relocated to Calle Herbosa, which is located outside the building. Meanwhile, the Manila Local Government Unit will discuss financial assistance for the affected vendors. Bernadette Tinoy will tell us why.
The Manila Local Government Unit, or LGU, has announced that vendors affected by the fire incident in Patel Market will be temporarily placed on Calle Herbosa, which is located outside the building. This is after the fire incident that occurred in Patel Market last Friday.
Aayusin po natin yung pagpupwestuhan nilang temporary dito po sa Calle Herbosa. Kasi po syempre matatagalan po ang pag-ayos niyan, hindi naman po maliit na pamilihan ng retail market.
According to Manila City Mayor Hani Lacuna, they decided to dismantle the 6,000 square meter building as it cannot be repaired through rehabilitation. She also pleaded with the affected vendors to follow the corresponding rules for the placement of stalls outside the building.
Ayaw lang po nating gambalain din ang pang-araw-araw na kabuhayan ng mga nagdadaan din po dito.
Meanwhile, Barangay official Tony Asilo prohibits individuals from entering the building as the concrete materials could fall on the ground with its fragile content.
Yung mga possible na pwedeng daanan ng mga ibang tao na magiging delikado naman sa kanila, yun ang pinagbabawalan namin kaya nakabantay din kami.
The vendors appealed to the authorities and asked for financial assistance.
Ang puhunan po namin sagad, abong-abo na po ang retail market, wala na pong natira sa amin kundi abo. Naubos po ang aming puhunan, lahat po. Kaya umapila po kami sa ating presidente na sana po ay matulungan kami.
Ang pinagtataka lang namin, walang natira kahit isa na stall na hindi nasunog lahat ng paninda. Kaya lumalabas lahat ng panintindira dito, wala talaga.
Some consumers also find retail market not convenient because stalls outside the building are scattered around and disorganized.
Siguro mga mag-isang oras mahigit na ako, kakaikot ng hanggang dulo. Sobrang hirap talaga, hindi mo alam kung nasaan na yung mga suki mo, kulang-kulang yung paninda. Ang hirap, magulo.
The Manila LGU confirms that they are still discussing financial assistance through capital assistance under the Manila Department of Social Welfare or MDSW. Lacuna added that the investigation into the main cause of the fire is still ongoing by Manila Fire District. Bernadette Tinoy, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, has approved a fund of 2.39 billion pesos for a massive forest rehabilitation program in the country. According to Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman, this initiative aims to achieve a sustainable and climate-resilient economy. She also advised other agencies to allocate budget provisions to address climate change in the country. The agency emphasizes that the budget of 464.5 billion pesos to address climate change in 2023 is 60.1% higher than in 2022.
Commodore J. Tariela, the spokesperson of the National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea, or NTF-WPS, insisted that the Chinese Coast Guard has a long history of attacking Philippine Coast Guard vessels. He also mentioned that Filipino fishermen are also experiencing such intimidation. According to Commodore Tariela, this situation in the West Philippine Sea occurs almost daily. The Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, is grateful for the support and sympathy extended to the Philippines from different countries amid China's further harassment in the WPS. The United States, Australia, Canada, and the United Kingdom have expressed their support for the Philippines. The PCG is still monitoring the presence of 2 Chinese vessels in Ayungin Shoal and more than 100 Chinese maritime militia in the Julian Felipe Reef. According to the PCG, they will continue their routine patrols in the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines in the West Philippine Sea.
Ang China Coast Guard vessel na mas di hamak na mas malaki sa Philippine Coast Guard vessel ang nagki-carry out ng mga dangerous maneuver against Philippine Coast Guard vessel. So I think it is not correct to say that we are the one who provoke the China Coast Guard. It is actually their vessels who are provoking our vessels.
A new report in China shows that exit bans preventing thousands of people leaving the country have multiplied as political control tightens under the Chinese Communist Party. Maven Dog will tell us the details live. Yes, Maeve, good evening.
Good evening, Marielle. According to human rights group Safeguard Defenders, Beijing has expanded its ability to impose exit bans by passing 5 new laws and amendments, raising the total to 15. In 2020, almost 39,000 individuals were barred from leaving the country, marking an 8-fold increase from just under 5,000 in 2016. Moreover, while China does not officially release data on exit bans, it is estimated that at least 14 million people were affected by the exit bans in 2015 alone. Just last week, China amplified its counter-espionage law, which allows authorities to prevent the departure of anyone who is under investigation, whether they are Chinese or foreign, and even if they are not a suspect. It is said that foreigners, especially lawyers, journalists, activists, and business executives, have been increasingly targeted, even arbitrarily. With many unaware of their exit ban until they are at the border, and the almost impossible chance of a successful appeal, human rights groups call the use of exit bans as illegitimate and a tool of hostage diplomacy and transnational repression. Meanwhile, Jörg Wuttke, head of the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China, has urged for clarification from the government, saying the exit bans send mixed signals as China tries to restore business confidence to attract more foreign investment. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Maven Dog, reporting live. The reopening of the Philippine Consulate in Houston, Texas, USA, brings back numerous services to the Filipino community in the area. Marie Peñaranda reports.
Philippine Filipinos in Houston, Texas, USA rejoiced as the Philippine Consulate opened in the city, allowing them to conveniently use services such as notarials, civil registry, and passport renewal. Back then, Filipinos had to travel all the way to California to process these services since there were no other available consulates nearby. Gloria Eligio, a Filipina in Texas, says the whole process was easy to follow and saved her a lot of money from traveling to another state.
Very convenient kasi malapit lang siya. I don't have to spend money to go to LA kasi usually, di ba, before na mag-open ng consulate dito sa Houston, doon tayo sa LA. So, we can save money, time, tsaka lahat, and you don't have to be absent to work kasi magkuha ka lang naman ng application or appointment sa Philippine Consulate sa Houston. So far, awa ng Diyos, maayos naman po. Maayos yung pamamalakad nila. Very convenient sa ating taga dito na sa Texas.
Similarly, Rowena Lacap, satisfied, says that she was able to receive the documents that she requested within the time frame that the consulate had promised.
I was able to get the document I requested within the time frame that they have promised. Very helpful din po yung staff inside the embassy, and all in all, it was a positive experience. And we're just grateful na meron na po tayong embassy dito sa Houston. That way, we don't have to travel to California.
The Houston Philippine Consulate not only serves Filipinos in the state of Texas, but also in other states such as Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. Houston Philippine Consul General Gerald G. Santos says the consulate's reopening operation was a success. However, he requests the public's patience as they have limited staff members.
Since reopening, everything has gone smoothly. Marami naman kaming napagsilbihan na. As you know, the consulate has been closed for like 25 years until we reopened in 2018. Mostly in consideration of the services that our community here in Texas needs. I just want to tell our compatriots here that we are here to serve. We are here for you. We just need to be given your patience because, like I said, there's thousands out there that we are servicing. We are only 12.
As the consulate resumes its services, many events are also expected to happen, such as a flag-raising ceremony in the consulate with Filipino community leaders and special friends to commemorate and celebrate Filipino Independence Day. The consulate is located at 9990 Richmond Avenue, Suite 100N, Houston, Texas 77042. For more details such as contact information for the Philippine Consulate, Filipinos can visit their website at houstonpcg.dfa.gov.ph. Marie Peñaranda, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Mariela Toza reporting live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
Thousands of passengers and hundreds of flights are expected to be disrupted by the scheduled shutdown of the Philippine airspace on May 17. Airline companies are expected to finalize their plans this week to advise passengers ahead of time. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
The Manila International Airport Authority, or MIAA, met with airport companies and airport operators across the country today to prepare for the 6-hour airport shutdown on May 17. The shutdown will give way to the maintenance activity of the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, which will replace the uninterruptible power supply, or UPS, of the Communications, Navigation and Surveillance Air Traffic Management, or CNS-ATM system. MIAA officer in charge Brian Co says up to 130 trips, mostly domestic flights with around 20,000 passengers, could be affected by the airspace closure. The flight adjustments will depend on the options to be offered by airline companies, including flight consolidation.
One flight will be canceled and the passengers will be moved to the other flight. But if the flights are quite full, what they would do is, of course, they would just retime the flights. What we intimated to them earlier is that timely communication to all the passengers so that the passengers will know their new flight assignments and flight times so that they will not be confused when they go to the airport.
The MIAA expects airline companies to finalize their plans by Friday, May 5, so that affected passengers can make the necessary planning and adjustments for their trips. Meanwhile, CAAP spokesperson Eric Apolonio assures operations will go back to normal once the maintenance work is completed.
Actually, sobra na yung 6 baka mapaaga. Nagbigay lang kami na allowance just in case na magkaroon ng other issues within the time frame. Kasi mahirap na ma-eksaktuhin mo dahil pag may issues pa, tatamaan yung flights, mas malaking problema.
Once the May 17 maintenance is done, the CAAP is optimistic that the New Year fiasco will not happen again. Aside from assured redundancies in the power system, Apolonio adds the air traffic management system's maintenance provider, Thales Group, is also back, which means spare parts are readily available for replacements. The CAAP supervised the air traffic control system for years without the maintenance provider after the Duterte administration had some issues with the Thales Group.
Kaya ka nangyari noong January 1, we were supposed to have that part. Alam naman namin na may bibigay na parts. Unfortunately, because of the may mga proseso. During that time, ayun na nga, hindi naman natin expect na parehong magbibigay yung said equipment. But this time, dalawa na palagi. Kaya medyo competent kami, wala na magiging issue in the future.
Earlier today, the automatic voltage regulator or AVR of the CNS ATM system was already repaired and was completed earlier than expected. The MIAA says no flights were affected by the maintenance activity. The MIAA and airline companies will meet again on Monday, May 8. Jorlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God. The new acting head of the Manila International Airport Authority, or MIAA, is optimistic that the recent change in their leadership will not affect their operations. MIAA Senior Assistant General Manager Brian Ko was designated today as the officer in charge following the approval of the MIAA Board of Directors. This comes after the Ombudsman placed MIAA Acting General Manager Cesar Chong and Acting Assistant General Manager Irene Montalvo under preventive suspension due to complaints of alleged grave abuse of authority. Ko says they will continue with the implementation of projects to improve airport operations.
They will continue, and we don't see any challenge as far as we complete all of the tasks that are mandated to us. The transition will be seamless, I think.
Meanwhile, Department of Transportation Assistant Secretary for Communications Hector Villacorta says the department respects the decision of the Ombudsman. In a statement, Chong says he is confident that he will be vindicated once he is allowed to present his side. He adds the MIAA finances have vastly improved under his short stint in the agency. Chong maintains that financial stability of the MIAA and improved airport operations are part of his visions, but he will focus on the legal issues for now.
Meanwhile, a plane lost its brakes and overshot the runway of the airport in the coastal town of Palanan, Isabela, and crashed into the grass beyond the runway. According to Captain Romel Galamgam, Chief of Palanan Airport Police Station, the Piper PA 31-350 Navajo Chieftain aircraft with call sign RP-C8262 owned by Cyclone Airways based in San Fermin, Kawayan City, had 9 people on board, including a 2-year-old boy. Police Captain Galamgam expressed gratitude that no one, including the pilot, Captain Ariel Cuardo, was injured in the incident.
The Bida program in Zamboanga Peninsula will be launched this coming Saturday. Meanwhile, the local government of Lopez Haina extended assistance to fire-hit residents in Barangay Macalibre Alto, Misamis Occidental. And in Catanduanes, Department of Labor and Employment provides payout to 444 beneficiaries of the Tulong Panghanap Buhay sa Ating Disadvantaged or Displaced Workers program in Catanduanes. Grace Flores will tell us why.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG is set to launch its Buhay Ingatan, Droga'y Iwasan or Bida program in Zamboanga Peninsula on Saturday, May 6. According to DILG Zamboanga City Director Ginajin Banyuuy, this event is to further intensify the campaign against illegal drugs. The Bida program is a formation program of the government to keep the citizens away from illegal activities and illegal drugs. Meanwhile, the local government of Lopez Haina in Misamis Oriental distributed 10,000 pesos each and supplies to the fire-affected residents of Barangay Macalibre Alto. The aid has been provided so that they can recover and build their own places again after around 12 homes were devastated by fire last April 30. Temporarily, all affected residents are staying in Barangay Macalibre Covered Court. And in Catanduanes, 444 beneficiaries of the Tulong Panghanap Buhay sa Ating Disadvantaged or Displaced Workers Program receive cash assistance by the Department of Labor and Employment in the province. The cash aid aims to assist Veracnons in their daily living expenses. Officials assured the program's continuous implementation. Grace Flores, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of Members Church of God International.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 26, verse 21, it says, "As coals are to burning coals, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife." Those are the reasons behind the news, May 3, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Harley Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Under your leadership, we have been able to continue to do the work that we have that is a priority around our mutual prosperity and security. During my visit to the Philippines, we discussed many issues, including the importance of a clean energy economy. You and I share a passion for that.
Sa ngayon, San Juan pa lang ang merong digital ticketing device. Pero tayo ay magpo-provide sa mga 17 LGUs. In fact, nandito na yung ating device. Kailangan lamang pong i-customize ito. Dahil alam naman natin na merong kanya-kanyang iba pang violations yung mga syudad. So, kailangan lang integrate dito sa ating sistema.
I'm giving the assurance that all those personnel who are involved in this fiasco will be properly charged, appropriately charged, and administratively and criminally. Pipilitin natin na sila po ay matatanggap sa service.
Just give us about probably 2 days so that all legalities ma-cover namin dito. We just want that when we make a statement, talagang airtight ang lahat nito.